Hi, listener. So, on the last episode of Do You Want to Come With, Season 1, The Girls' Room, I talked about my working theory of the bathroom based on my conversations and the scholarly interventions that I had. Now, in today's episode, I'm kind of going to wrap up my initial research process. I'm going to share my reflections on the conversations that I had, share my reflections on the bathroom that I've had so far, and kind of come to a resting point for now. I'll see you in a second.
I got a meeting in the girls' room. Do you wanna come with, boo? I got a meeting in the girls' room. Do you wanna come with, who? Ooh, do you wanna come with?
I'm tired. Can we go? Hi, listeners. Welcome to the final episode of Season 1 of Do You Want to Come With? As always, I'm your bathroom attendant, David McKeever. Would you like a mint? My color of the day today is silver. I think like mirrors were made from silver or are made from silver. I always think of silver when I see mirrors, which is kind of like, I guess you see reflections in silver too. It's one of the only colors that you can really have a clear reflection of yourself in, So anyways, my message for you today is from me, from my heart. And I think I want to say that no emotion is permanent. Things change and things will change. I've kind of been like struggling on my own recently, just like feelings of longing or of desire, or like kind of like feeling like my depression is creeping back into my life and being like, oh my God, like this is hopeless. I'm going to just feel like this for the rest of my life. And it's just like, it's been a practice that I've had to remind myself that like, I haven't felt like this forever and I won't feel like this forever. Even though, maybe I have long stretches of like time where my feelings feel really intense and they feel very down and I feel very shit, But yeah, like I know that that's not everything. I know that that's not been everything for me. So my message today is your feelings are not permanent and they will change, and that's okay, And it doesn't mean that what you're feeling now isn't valid. And it doesn't mean that what you're feeling in the future isn't valid. It's all real. Anyways, my gossip today is that I'm feeling kind of like weird about romantic love. I don't know. Like I feel like it's always been something that I've been striving for. It's always been something that I've been, looking at. But like I've only had one relationship, I've had other kinds of romantic experiences or crushes or stuff throughout the years, and like still do. And like, it kind of, I don't know. I just think that like there's this sense of feeling the reality of my romantic history and being like, is this going to be forever? Am I just going to be alone forever? Like, or like turning to that place of like a nihilistic place of like, we're born alone and we die alone, like that kind of train of thought. And like, I don't think that there's not truth in the fact that like we are alone for most of our lives. Like, but at the same time, I think it's this kind of construction of, this kind of Western colonial kind of thought of like, we are individuals isolated from the rest of society. And so, yeah, like I've been struggling with these feelings about romance and like, how's it going to happen for me? And am I going to find true love in my life? And it's like, no, I've been trying to remind myself, I find true love every day. I find true love in myself every day. I find true love in the world around me and the people around me every day. And it's just a matter of like, am I taking the time to recognize that love? Am I taking the time to notice that love, So my gossip today is romance is weird, and I love it and I hate it, but I love it mostly. Anyways, enough of that. Now it's time to get into this kind of finale-ish episode of Season 1 of Do You Want to Come With, The Girls' Room. Let's get sickening! So a question has come up multiple times throughout my project that I ended up just posing it in my last few conversations, I asked, should the bathroom be gendered? From the perspective of queer men and genderqueer people, like the bathroom shouldn't be gendered. From other conversations with women in my life, I know that some of them would ultimately not care if bathrooms weren't gendered. While the social space will be lost, maybe new and more intimate social spaces can exist for women. Maybe community amongst women could be more intentional rather than based solely on the gendered space that they're in. To me, the bathroom should not necessarily be about community. It should be about a space of utility. I don't think much would be lost with the social experience being removed. Safety is definitely an issue, so having a social space where women can go to like hide away from creepy men in bars and clubs is necessary, and the bathroom does serve as a moment of reprieve. But I think we should be thinking about other ways to provide women reprieve from patriarchal violence. Maybe we should consider the experiences of those who Maybe we should consider those who experience violence through the gendering of the bathroom space, those who are policed and surveilled in the bathroom, and we should go from there. I don't think people would really care if bathrooms weren't gendered. As I talked about with Campbell, if the change happened overnight, there'd probably be an outrage. But I think once people got adjusted and once people, saw non-gendered bathrooms as the norm, I don't think people would really care. We know how to make bathrooms and spaces that are safe and accessible. It's just that the wrong people are in charge of building spaces. Imagine for a second the bathroom without gender. Imagine some of the non-gendered bathrooms you've been in. The reprieve and the relief of the bathroom could be made so much more powerful if gender wasn't wrapped up in it. Imagine the bathroom without gender, with green tiles, like Zoe said, a warm and inviting space. Imagine what it could be like then for all who enter. I also have used a few non-gendered bathrooms in my life that aren't just like single stall, all gender bathrooms, aren't just like handicap bathrooms that have been converted to all gender bathrooms or whatever. And I think that like in most cases, I remember walking in, I think there's like an Urban Outfitters or something, or maybe like a restaurant or something where like I walked into the bathroom and it was like one of those, like the sinks were on the outside and then you had a bunch of like stalls that had doors that the doors were closed completely, and like you would go into a stall and you go to the bathroom, you come out, wash your hands, and you're doing that with people of all genders around you. And it was kind of weird. It was kind of like, oh, like I don't know how to use this bathroom, but like that's only because I've been trained to use a gendered bathroom my whole life. I've been trained to imagine bathrooms as man, woman, you go into the men's room, at least for me. You go into the men's room, you go about your business, you come out, you wash your hands in front of the mirror, you have stalls, urinals, sink, trash can, like you leave, And you leave and you're in this room that's kind of like the bathroom. And this other bathroom was kind of more expansive. Like, I don't think there was a door on the very outside of it, like into that main sink space, It felt a lot more open. It felt a lot more free. And it felt weird at first. But, like, I think if all bathrooms were like that, it would be a lot easier for me to go about my business. Because, one, I have a private stall that isn't, like, I don't know, like there's no slats at the bottom. You can't see through. You can't see if somebody's in the stall. You have your own private little cubicle stall. Like, I like that. I think that's very nice. I think it's like a good way of going about the bathroom. Is it perfect? Probably not. Are there probably better ways of making bathrooms? Yeah. But I've also talked to other people about their experiences, specifically like women outside of this project too, And I think it was at camp this summer, the camp that I worked at. I was talking to someone about the bathroom, and I think she told me that like she felt uncomfortable. She's like used those all gender bathrooms before. And there's this sense of like being uncomfortable washing your hands next to men and a sense of missing that community, And I think it's like, that's valid, Like I understand, like, especially if you're a woman and you've been operating in the girls' bathroom space and, you also experience violence and objectification from men. It kind of does open you up to that experience in another profound way. But it also kind of makes the bathroom a much more mechanical experience too, Like, it makes the bathroom much more about going to the bathroom, going about your business, and leaving. And especially when there's people of all genders there, it's like, it probably would be easier to check a man who might be like, hey, beautiful, like hitting on somebody or trying to like make someone feel uncomfortable. And at the end of the day, it's going to still be a little weird, especially because we're not used to it. And this thinking about it or using these bathrooms is going to be weird, especially because we have these alternative experiences or spaces, like, and by alternative, I mean like the normal space of the gendered bathroom. It's because we look towards that space as the norm and we see that as perfect. But I feel like it's not perfect. I feel like all this work I've done about the bathroom has shown that this community and this space is not a perfect space, even though there's this cultural fantasy that it is. So I think if we were to not gender bathrooms, if we were to have bathrooms without gender, it could be a much more expansive or even a much more mundane experience for all. And it doesn't have to be this space where like we look towards as like this is where violence happens or this is where reprieve happens, you know. Moving on, I want to ask the question, what now? So as I've conducted this research, and I would even say like at the beginning of my research project, there wasn't this like rampant rise of, you know, bioessentialist and transphobic and anti-queer laws that have been passed throughout the United States. But, you know, they were there at the beginning. They were kind of like sparks. And then I took about a 6-month break from this project. I got it all my research done, just gave it space. And in those 6 months, like, the rise in these, you know, anti-queer, anti-trans laws and policies and moral panic just skyrocketed. There is a moral panic around queer and genderqueer and trans people in this country. And there's this trope of the predatory queer or trans person in the mainstream discourse. I'm painfully aware of this context because it permeates into the core of my very being. I made this project to call attention to the bathroom because the bathroom's been a site of this moral panic for many years now. And I think I can speak for all queer and trans and genderqueer people when I say, stop fucking policing us. This is a demand, not a plea, not a request. It is a demand. As I sifted through this project months and months after I first finished it, I was struck by just how much this violence has taken hold in the United States. Transphobia and homophobia is rampant right now, and these myths about trans and queer people being groomers, pedophiles, and predators who aim to harm children are at the forefront of this discourse. These myths are not new, and these lies are not unfamiliar, yet we are still dealing with them. The bathroom is a site of this moral panic and of this discourse, with people fearing quote-unquote predators in potential inclusive bathroom spaces. They think that a man could pretend to be a woman and attack someone, or they even believe that transness and queerness themselves are predatory, and that we have violence on our minds, and that we are trying to enact this violence and brainwash other people or brainwash kids into being queer and trans. The fear of the other is so strong in our society. You know, girls are taught from a young age to fear men and to submit to them, and even as people unlearn their submission, they still hold on to the fear. A lot of the cis women I've talked to, across all ages, have talked to me about the fear of assault in the bathroom. While this is definitely a reality for some, it's not an excuse to villainize or demonize trans people. It is a fucking fact that violence and assault most commonly happens amongst people who know each other, and that cis-het white men are the ones who enact this violence. Trans and queer people are not the ones who create and enforce violence. We are constantly fighting against it, and I refuse to let this narrative that we are the problem take hold. The problem is this violence, is this white supremacist, patriarchal, capitalist, colonial hellscape that is the United States and the colonized world. If you care about your family, your friends, yourself, and your future, you will expel the notion that those who are other to you are the ones who need to be eradicated. If you want to live aligned with love, you must fight for liberation for all. I can only hope more research is done on the social experiences of the girls' public bathroom. I wish there was a larger body of work for me to pull from, but there's really not. And I hope this podcast serves as a way for people to get to think about their experiences and what the girls' bathroom experience or the bathroom in general might mean for queer, trans, and genderqueer people. I look to the future, including my own, and I hope to carry on my investigation of this experience. The following quote from PISAR, People in Search of Safe and Accessible Restrooms, the coalition I mentioned last episode, captures what the bathroom could be. Quote, "Everyone should be able to find a bathroom that conforms to the needs of their body. Everyone should be able to use a restroom without being accused of being in the quote-unquote wrong place. Everyone should have access to tampon dispensers and facilities for changing diapers, regardless of gender or ability. Homeless folks should have access to clean restrooms free of harassment. Bathroom activism is, from the outset, a multi-identity endeavor. It has the potential to bring together feminists, trans folks, people with disabilities, single parents, and a variety of other people whose bathroom needs frequently go unmet. It creates a much-needed space for those of us whose identities are much more complicated than can be encompassed in a single-issue movement. Viewed in this light, restroom activism is an ideal platform from which to launch broader coalition work." End quote. Let's take a bathroom break. Welcome back from the bathroom. In writing the script for this podcast, a picture from my sophomore year of high school popped up in my memories. It was me and two friends taking a mirror selfie in the bathroom. We were jumping in the air together, and we caught that, and it's kind of just like this blurry image of like three kind of silhouettes of our bodies in the bathroom mirror, in the girls' bathroom. It was a silly thing that I'd always see my girlfriends do when they were in the bathroom, and I always wanted to do it with them. It was like, it was kind of one of these original moments where I was like, the girls are in the bathroom having fun together, and I want to be having fun with them. I'd forgotten about this picture too, and my feelings about it, until I saw it while I was working on this podcast. As this project was born from my personal experience, I reflect on the moments that created an understanding of the girls' bathroom for me. And I also think about my disregard for this specific experience. I forgot about it. It's not something that necessarily stuck with me in my conscious memory, but the feelings came flooding back after all these years. But at the same time, maybe there's something about entering that space and actually being a part of that in-group that made me forget. And maybe I felt how mundane it was, and suddenly it no longer felt so mystical. I captured the mystery of the bathroom on camera and promptly forgot I was ever an outsider. Throughout the process of making this project, I enter the girls' bathroom. After my conversation with Tim, one of the queer men I talked to, I went into the girls' bathroom across the hall from our capstone classroom. It was a Saturday in early November, and I'm pretty sure no one else was even in the building. It's like the science building. Literally, they would always shove the gender studies kids into any single classroom that was just in the basement level and in a building that had nothing to do with what we were studying. It was really funny. So just kind of this dark hallway on a Saturday in early November. I made a silly little TikTok about it, knowing what I was doing, knowing what people could say about it. I talked about how much nicer it was than the men's bathroom that was its counterpart. I'd always used this bathroom, especially during this capstone class, because it was quicker, and it was urgent. Or there were no non-gendered bathrooms in the building, and if I wanted to go to the bathroom, I'd have to leave. Or especially sometimes I'm very sweaty, so it's sometimes I just go into the bathroom, just get a paper towel or something, or take a second to not be sweating my ass off, And also, the other bathroom, too, stinks. That men's bathroom, something in there, stinks. Just always stinks, like sewer, disgusting sewer. That girl's bathroom did not smell like that. So after I posted this TikTok, I got a comment on my post. It read, quote, "You are a grown-ass man. Get out of there," end quote. It was from a random gay man on the internet that I don't even follow and that he doesn't follow me. I blocked him. It didn't matter to me what he thought. And I knew I wasn't harming anyone. And I was being misgendered in the process. Being called a grown-ass man and being told to get out of the bathroom in a place where he has no idea what's going on. He's also a gay man, too, so it's policing me and telling me and enforcing a masculinity onto me that isn't necessarily there. So gender is on the door of the bathroom, and it justifies reprimand and potential punishment. Those who have an adherence to the power of normativity, in whatever way they adhere to it, will reinforce gender. I am happy, I'm lucky to be able to surround myself with people who care about me, who know me, and who can see past the sign on the door. I can't say that the girls' bathroom isn't a safe haven of sorts for some girls, or that it's entirely unsafe as well. It exists as a place of contradiction, a microcosm of the fallacy of gendered logic. I don't feel like my preconceived notions of the space were that far off, but I also don't feel as much a desire to enter and be a part of it as I have before. I feel that the social experience of the girls' bathroom has been demystified for me, at least a little bit. But also, I feel like the bathroom has become a lot more clear to me, too. I think much more beyond the girls' bathroom and what the girls' bathroom might mean. The bathroom is a site of social control. It is not just a safe haven. It is a battleground. My heart keeps returning to Pissar's Inquisition, which I paraphrased last episode. They said, quote, "When the revolution comes, where will you be? We'll be in the bathroom. Come join us in there." End quote. Mirrors. I think the most important part of the bathroom might be mirrors. The bathroom lets you check in with yourself. And the mirror lets you see yourself in a way that you cannot otherwise. Because without mirrors, we'd never see our own faces. In my conversation with Lila, she talked about the symbol of mirrors in her life. She thinks a lot about how we find reflections of ourselves in the world around us and how we, quote, yearn to see ourselves in others, end quote. Mirrors remind us of our place in the world, and we see ourselves in another way. So next time you happen upon the bathroom mirror, see yourself and the space you're in and the people who are in there. How do you view yourself? What informs this? How does the political create the personal? And how does the personal inform the political? How do the people around you interact with this space and interact with you? What are they doing when they look in the mirror? What are you doing? Do you find reflections of yourself in the bathroom, in public spaces in general, in strangers you pass by on the street? Reflect, check in, and go about your day. Remind yourself that you are valid, regardless of what's on the door. Mirrors, mirrors, mirrors. As I've recorded this podcast, every single episode has been me sitting in front of this mirror on my desk. It's a big mirror. I think I thrifted it or something. Or no, it was actually left outside of my apartment lobby, and I just was like, I'm always in the mood for more mirrors, you know. The mirror's always been a contentious space for me. I think from a very young age, I always look in the mirror, and a lot of the messages I got around my body and being fat, I'd always look in the mirror and find a flaw. I'd always look in the mirror and feel some sort of falseness, or be like, somebody told me that I need to be a certain way and I don't look like that. Or I look in the mirror and I see my double chin, or I see that one of my eyes is a little bit more droopy than the other. I point out all these imperfections. And that was my relationship with the mirror for so many years. I couldn't look at myself without feeling like something was off. And the older I got, the more time I spent looking at myself in the mirror and changing how I felt about my body outside of looking in the mirror. And as I would come back to the mirror, I'd start to look at myself more deeply. I would look at myself in the eyes. I would look at my nose, look at my mouth as I talked. And I started to recognize that this is a person. That all the hatred and the self-loathing that I feel, that's happening to a person. And I remember that all of the things that are being reflected back onto me are real. And I'd begin to look in the mirror and I'd be like, there's a world in there, you know? And there's a world out here too. There's a person in here. Regardless of how this person looks, they are a person. I started to understand myself in a much better light. And the mirror started to become something that I liked, you know? I'd look in the mirror and I'd actually like the person that I see looking back at me. I'd actually think that they were, sexy or something. And I'd stop looking for the flaws and I'd start seeing, the joy. I would start looking at my eyes more intensely, checking in with myself. I look tired today. I look happy right now. I love seeing this little twinkle in my eyes on days that are really joyful for me. And on days that are hard, sometimes I look and my bathroom lights are, in the bathroom in my apartment, the lights are a little bit harsh sometimes. And I see every pore. I see every hair growing out of place on my beard. And I'm like, oh, I need to trim this, or I shave it. Or I see a pimple, or I see a new mole that I haven't seen before, a new freckle. I don't always look in the mirror and feel like I'm wrong these days. But sometimes I do. Sometimes, especially in the bathroom, I look in the mirror and I see someone looking back at me and I'm like, this is a person who shouldn't be in the men's bathroom right now. But yet I have to be. I look at myself and I don't see a masculine person. I have a beard, but I don't feel masculine. I have so much body hair and I don't feel masculine like that. I can recognize that some people might view me and see that, but gender is so much more expansive than that. I think I kind of resisted this idea of gender being expansive for a long time. And I think this world teaches us that you can't go, it's just you can't go around calling yourself whatever, there are rules and there's logic and you have to follow that. And if you look a certain way, then you are a certain way. And I understand that, and I understand where it comes from, but it's so fucking constraining and so fucking limiting. We all feel this violence, and then we all internalize it and enact it against other people. I'm just so grateful for the queer and trans and genderqueer people out there who challenge this notion of gender, who challenge the fact that what you see is what you get, because that's not true. I know for so many years how limiting it feels. I still do. Sometimes I look in the mirror and all I can see is a man. and a man that I don't want to be, a man that other people make me into. I get sad, and then I avoid my reflection, or I look in the mirror and I'm like, who is this person? This doesn't feel like the person I know myself to be, because I've been taught this violence so intensely. And maybe there's something deeper there too. Maybe there is a dysphoria I feel by looking the way I do. That's not for anybody else to figure out but me. But it is something I'd like to share, you know? The mirror lets me think about myself, and it lets me think about the world and how I'm reflecting back onto the world, how other people might see me, how I might find a reflection of myself in the world around me, and how others might find a reflection of themselves in me. Mirrors in the bathroom are really interesting. Most public spaces don't have a reflection that you can look into and check out yourself, especially in a mirror. Like maybe you can look in some glass or something. But a mirror is kind of this like safe, secure thing in a way. You go, you see kind of an accurate depiction of what you look like, you know, mirrors. But also at the same time, that's a lie too. Mirrors can warp how you look. You know, those like Target brand mirrors that like make people look skinnier and like give people body dysmorphia. You know, those are real things. One of the most interesting things about mirrors in the bathroom is I think about this one like all gender bathroom on my old college campus. I would use it all the time. It was in like the art building and I was a music minor. So like I'd be in that bathroom all the time. And there's no mirror in it. The only reflection I could get of myself was in the tiles, and it's this warped perception of myself like draped in blue and in like grid lines separating my body. I can't really look at how I feel. I can't really look at myself and see myself. I see this distorted version of myself. There's no mirror in that bathroom for me, or genderqueer people, or disabled people, or people who just want to go into a bathroom that's private to look at themselves. And I always thought about what that experience meant and how it would deny me a chance to check in with myself. Reflections are important. As I reflect back on myself looking in the mirror, as I reflect on this project, I see things so much more clearly than that I could have never seen when I was originally working on this project, that I could have never seen when I was a kid looking in the mirror pointing out all my flaws. So, when you go to the bathroom and you look in the mirror, reflect, check in, and go about your day. Remind yourself that you are valid, you are worthy of love, that you are beautiful, regardless of what's on the bathroom door, regardless of what you've been taught before. Folks, I'm going to start to wrap up now, and wrap up in a way that I haven't necessarily before. You know, these 5 episodes kind of make up the bulk of the original research that I did for this project. They've always been in my mind as the whole thing, you know, as 1 through 5 and that's it. And, you know, maybe some bonus content here or there. But I never really thought of beyond it when I was originally working on it. And as I sat and reflected on this project, I realized that I can't stop here. But before I move on, I do need to take a moment to acknowledge those who helped this project happen. I'd first like to thank my fabulous capstone class. Without all of their passion and creativity for their own projects, and their incredibly thoughtful comments, advice, and suggestion for my project, I really would not have been able to do this. I miss spending time with all of them, but I will cherish the time we had in that class forever. I'd like to thank my conversationalists, you know, Emma, Lila, Z, Ash, Connie, Zoe, Tim, and Campbell. Each and every one of them helped me think and learn in different ways through our talks for my project, and they were a part of something incredibly special for me, and I hope it was for them too. I'd like to thank my incredible and amazing capstone professor, Dr. Eileen Finley. Her commitment to me and my classmates and her caring and passionate engagement with my work was unmatched. She made me feel so competent in times when I felt stupid and gave me the space and time to think about my project more deeply and let me take care of myself when I needed it. And I can't thank her enough for everything. Thank you for those who listened to me and cared enough to have an interest in this project. Your curiosity helped me realize I was on the right track. Thank you to all of those who were in the margins. Thank you to all of those thinkers involved in this project. Without their work, where would I be? And finally, thank you to you, listeners. If you made it this far, you must really love me or you must really care. I cannot find the words to express my gratitude. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Thank you. So my book of the week this week is my capstone notebook. It's a green little notebook. It has one of those things that you can keep it shut, and then it has like a bookmark kind of string that you can place in the thing. I will say it's only about halfway full. I type things a lot more, and it was just like something I would have. If I had a quick thought, I could write it down. My capstone professor, when she was asking us, what do you want to talk about? What's been nagging you? What's been bugging you? That can be something that you explore. And I was thinking about that. And I remember it was the week after she asked us that question, I was brainstorming topics. I was like, maybe I want to do something about TV and stuff, because I love TV and I would love to spend some time doing that. And then I just kept thinking about the bathroom. And I kept thinking about this experience I have of just my friends going to the bathroom together and I'm left out. And how much this has been bugging me for so many years, and how I've literally never voiced it to anyone. And so I sat in that class and I voiced it. I'm sitting here looking through this now. First off, there's calculations of how many hours interviewing people would take. Me working through who exactly I want to interview, realizing I can't do it all, realizing that maybe this could take a better form than just an academic paper, and it could actually be a podcast. There's a note that says, record them, make them into episodes. There's these faculty members who would have worked with me and gave me information. And what my favorite thing is, so a little bit behind the curtain, is for so long I talked about and thought about this project as the girls' room. It was called The Girls' Room. That's the podcast. First off, there's 6 other podcasts called The Girls' Room. I couldn't have done that, and I couldn't have been a non-cis girl doing that too, because I know that there could have been some backlash. And so I have my original title, Do You Want to Come With, written in this notebook before I had changed it. And it says, Do You Want to Come With? The Girls' Bathroom, Social Experiences, and Exclusions. Or the exclusive social experience of the girls' bathroom and blah, blah, blah. Me trying to figure this out. And I did. I sit here with so much gratitude for myself, for my peers, for my friends, for my family, for my professors, for strangers, for you, listener. The fact that this exists now is no small feat. So much work has gone into this, and I'm just so grateful. So that's my book of the week this week. My capstone book. Check out Instagram. Maybe I'll post some pictures of it. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or rumors you'd like me to share in a future episode, I know there was no rumor has it this episode. Anyways, please email any of those things to doyouwannacomewith@gmail.com. Follow me at david.mckeever on Instagram, and follow the Do You Want to Come With Instagram as well at Do You Want to Pod. Also, Do You Want to Come With is on TikTok at Do You Want to Pod. Brothers, sisters, siblings, friends, strangers, lovers, and haters, we have reached the end of Season 1 of Do You Want to Come With? This has been the experience of a lifetime, and thank you all. Till we meet again, I'm David McKeever, and this has been Season 1 of Do You Want to Come With? The Girls' Room. Stay dirty. Bye. Oh, wait, actually, before I go, I have a few more things I need to tell you. First off, stay tuned for more bonus episodes of Season 1. I'll be releasing some of my original interview audios. I'll be releasing some endnotes and bibliography. I'll be releasing a media special at some point. And after all that's said and done, Season 2, Potty Talk, is on its way. I'm very excited. Season 2, I'm going back into research mode. I'm going back into conversation phase. And I'm going to be having people on the pod to talk about their experiences with gender and the bathroom and so much more, So stay tuned and stay dirty. And for real this time, I'm going, okay? So until we hold hands under the stalls together again, I'm David McKeever, and this is Do You Want to Come With? Bye! Bitch.